Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This video is going to be about two things. One's going to be lore related, and another is going to be institute related. So we're going to be talking about two things. One, why the institute. Well, three things actually. One, why the institute is good for the Commonwealth, and two, we're gonna go over and we're gonna take a little view of everything I have done in the institute. And number three, we're gonna talk about a special theory as soon as we get done with the previous two. So without further ado, we're gonna first talk about the institute. So, the institute. The institute are survivors from the Commonwealth Institute of Technology, whether it's professors, students, you name it. They and their descendants, and possibly other related family members, took shelter beneath CIT, whereas a warhead possibly intended for that college, it's actually hit a residential site, destroying a bit of Cambridge. The survivors took shelter below the ground, and the institute was founded somewhere in 2010. Hold on, let me find out the time. I think it was founded somewhere in 2001. Okay. I'm gonna say 2110 by the next generation of scientists, the generation born underground. And when they made their first synths, the Gen 1s, they attempted to use them to work peacefully with the people of the Commonwealth, but something called mutual distrust was known for destroying that relationship, causing the Institute to be the isolationist group that certain factions fight now, such as the Brotherhood of Steel and the Railroad. And the Institute sealed off all entrances. No, the Institute sealed off all entrances in 2180 when they developed the molecular relay, which is the teleportation device that they used to get in and out of the Institute. They sealed off all entrances upon its invention, and while doing so, they were also working on, after they were finished with the Gen 2 synths. They were working on experimental viruses such as the FEV to try and make the Gen 3 synth. But at first it required human specimens, so they tried collecting human beings from the surface and dumping them into vats of FEV to convert them into super mutants. And when the data was mined, those super mutants were disposed of and released onto the Commonwealth. The super mutants in Fallout 4 were made by the Institute. So, and eventually, one of the doctors of the Institute, Dr. Elliot, found out the problem. The subjects wouldn't help due to exposure to so much radiation, so they needed someone new. They had a proposal going forward, and it was called. And so they recruited Kellogg, and went to Vault 111 to get your son Sean and kill. They went to get your son Sean, and they ended up killing your spouse in the process. And they brought Sean back to the Institute. They got a piece of his. They copied and pasted a piece of his DNA to make the Gen 3 synths. And they also adopted Sean to try and teach him the ways of the Institute for a possible future experiment, I guess. But the Institute continued research into the FEV until the time where another scientist called Dr. Brian Virgil felt like he had enough after Father constantly he helped Dr. Brian Virgil basically he had enough and attempted to send out requests to shut down this FEV program, but Father stood against it, and it got to a point where Virgil said on a holotape that he had a plan to get out and shut down the program once and for all. He basically converted himself into a super mutant, destroyed the entire lab, and fled to the glowing sea. From there, the FEV program was discontinued, and things go on. In earlier times, there's also events such as the massacre of the CPG. The CPG is the Commonwealth Provisional Government. The Commonwealth Provisional Government attempted to send certain delegates to somewhere in Diamond City to try and hash out an agreement. Just as the initiative that was invented by Aradesh and Tandy, except the NCR's councils didn't get killed by a synth that went to the proceedings, because that's what happened. Either two things happened: A, the synth representative was just there to try and join this provisional government, and the survivors talked about, and the survivors actually okay, so the delegates actually found themselves shooting at the synth, but that synth delegate was just the last one standing. B, that synth just walked in and just killed everybody. Or a potential thing. C, the synth killed the synth killed everybody, but there was a holotape that was talking. But there is a holotape in Fallout 4 in the Institute that talks about deploying synths to the Commonwealth in a large enough number to maintain order. It could be B/C, don't know, but it could also be A. I haven't heard a lot of in-game talk about everybody else shooting first, so the option could be B, but there's also other things like the Broken Mask incident, where an old Generation 3 synth malfunctioned and attacked a bunch of settlers before being gunned down by security. And after the security found out that it was synth, the Institute responded with silence. Despite the fact that there is there's another holotape in the Institute that is about a director aside from Sean, who is father, who talks about the Broken Mask incident and how she's going to figure out who's responsible for the operations concerned and hold that person fully accountable. And there's also they will also find okay, so years down the line, probably somewhere in 2050 or something, 2070, Sean became father, and he became the latest director of the Institute. What Sean did as father, the director of the Institute, was pretty mundane. But what the key thing he wanted to do was free you, the sole survivor, from the cryopod to figure out what would happen, to see if you would really want to find him and join his side. But if you died, he wouldn't have cared as much, and if you didn't side with him, he wouldn't have cared as much. It's probably because he's been brainwashed so much. But the Institute is filled with good people. You got a similar sentiment by Dr. Madison Lee. Dr. Madison Lee now works at the Institute, rather than the Brotherhood of Steel. She left the Brotherhood back in Fallout 3 and joined the Institute in Fallout 4. And the reason she joined was to get away from the Brotherhood of Steel and the rest of the world and do her research in peace. Father took her in and gave her access to some of the most powerful technologies she dreamed existed. She was jaded. She thought the Institute cared, that they wanted to better mankind, and in reality they do. They actually really do. And the Institute isn't the problem. The Institute itself is no problem. It's only its faulty leadership system. So, what happens is, the father just ends up finding himself making decisions without asking. And it works as if he's a dictator, which he really isn't. But in the event of Fall 4, the Institute, under Father's leadership, is looking for autarky. They are looking to make their own super reactor to try and meet every single power need as possible, all at the same time, so that they can be left alone to redefine humanity underground. Either that means just to change humanity or just to help or heal it. But the Institute really is willing to help, and in the Institute, and if you side with the Institute, you will learn at the very end of Mankind Redefined, in this Mankind Redefined quest, that Sean is dying from cancer, and he needs you to take his place as director, which in the Institute campaign you accept. In the other campaigns, you destroy the Institute. You go to the reactor, you put a bomb in the thing with whatever faction you sided with, and you detonate. And Sean still dies of cancer, but the child Synth Sean will attempt to ask if it can come with you, which you can either accept or decline. And if you accept that Synth Sean in that Institute jumper goes with you to wherever place you go, and gets into a regular child outfit, or if you choose to leave to die, Sean just dies. So, once you get onto the mass fusion building, you can detonate a little thing, and you can destroy the Institute. And that kind of like ends the main campaign. That doesn't end the actual game itself, but which is a good thing. I don't know why Obsidian chose to not put in some contingencies for Outer Worlds. That's a pretty dumb thing to do. I looked it up to try and figure out if there was an end game thing, so that I was warned. But the Institute is pretty much good for humanity. And why? Because they're the best hope. Just like the Minutemen are the best hope. Both the Minutemen and the Institute are the best hope for humanity, especially if they work together, which is quite possible in every game, regardless of the fact that the Institute's flags fly over Diamond City, Gen 1 synths walk around Diamond City, and the Institute synths occupy the checkpoints. The people, the Commonwealth, Minutemen, and the Institute still work together. If you rescue the Minutemen from Concord, which is a very possible thing. You are both the general of the Minutemen and the director of the Institute. If you rescue the Minutemen, retake the castle, and become director of the Institute. So basically, you have two factions you can control, the Institute and the Minutemen. With the Minutemen, they're very noble and they're willing to help people, and for the Institute, they want to pursue science and research. Maybe if the Institute provided science technologies to the Minutemen would become an extremely powerful military force dedicated to protecting the Commonwealth. And the Institute would also be a similar thing, except they would pursue science. And probably, if the two work together, probably, say, a decade or two, maybe these Institute structures will become the structures of those above ground. Say, people, okay, highly advanced robots doing tasks for humans, and humans being able to pursue whatever research they want, I find that it's a good thing. Why? Because I like technology. I'm a big fan of technology, and I'm planning on going to a technological school someday, where I can learn more about technology and create my own business to try and make my own scientific organization and try and make a lot of robots, a lot of good technologies, and a lot of good things to distribute to the people across the United States. Why do I want to do this? Well, because I feel humanity should be technologically advanced. I mean, look at us. We're already developing robots right now in the real world. we need to be able to we need to focus on our advancements in science. And the Institute is the key example of this, especially if it's working with the Minutemen. The Minutemen, while not very technologically advanced, the weakest faction in the game, are willing to help people, and the Institute could just provide these technologies to the Minutemen to make them highly advanced. I think I can understand why Bethesda did not add a Minutemen Institute joint faction. But I was able to get some sort of mods in to make it look like Synths were attacking the Minutemen. But that's not completely the real thing. I couldn't really get, but the Institute is the best faction, is the strongest faction in the game. Well, the Minutemen are the weakest, but the Minutemen can also become the strongest if A, you build all the settlements up, or B, you join them up with the Institute, or C, both. Then the Minutemen can become really strong. But remember, do not break up your relationship with the Institute, or you'll have to destroy them. It is not a good thing to destroy the Institute. Okay, yeah, okay. The Institute laser is scrap. I get it. But that doesn't mean I have a whole series of them. Because the Institute's technologies should not be forgotten. I have a whole series of Institute lasers called the INT. The INT, and followed by a number with it, depends on the weapon. But the Institute ending, yeah, you become, so later on, you reactivate okay, so later in the Institute ending, you go to mass fusion, and you pick up the beryllium agitator. And then when you get back, you install the beryllium agitator into the reactor, then you go and get a man called T.S. Wallace. He comes either by choice or by force. The choice thing is the most biggest thing. The choice by choice thing is the more common one than the by force one. But you can always you'll get T.S. Wallace here regardless. But later, on top of that, you also go to your very own directorate meeting, and you have an option: either increase synth production or focus on weapons development. But that doesn't really do anything in the game at all. It really does literally nothing. It's just there, probably just to teach you how to make a directorate meeting. But it was set up by Bethesda. But Bethesda, never mind. But yeah, that was there. So and later in the Institute ending, you go and kill off the railroad, and then when you go to kill off the Brotherhood of Steel, you gotta do something. You gotta implement these Institute beacons, and when you do, you have to set them. You have to send. They will send synths at the Boston airport. First, you have to destroy the pillar thingies, and the Brotherhood at the Boston airport, which is below the Pridwin, which is the Brotherhood's airship. And yeah, you basically start deploying your synths in, and you send a synth virus to the top of Liberty Prime so you can install that virus in them and try and reprogram Liberty Prime to think that the Pridwin is a communist airship. For Liberty Prime's light eye will glow red or orange and destroy the Pridwin as a courser teleports you away to get to witness the Pridwin's destruction. From there, you go back to Father in the quest Nuclear Family, where Father, who's laying in that bed right over there, goes to Father thanks you for helping the boy achieve his dreams. He calls you Father, and he says he'd like to sleep. From there, the campaign ends, and you become the director of the Institute. And from that point forward, you just do whatever you want. You want to go help the Minutemen do their little quests, you do that. But the Institute, and both the Institute and the Minutemen are the two only best hopes for humanity. The Railroad doesn't give a shoot about humanity, and the Brotherhood just wants to take all humanity's technology for themselves. The Brotherhood of Steel is nothing more than a glorified raider gang with fancy and deadly weapons. Just like the Gunners. And the Gunners, well, they're their own story. But, the Institute is the best hope, just like the Minutemen is the best hope. The Institute is ultimately good, just like the Minutemen are ultimately good. So, now that that part of the video is done, let's go on and explore the Institute. We got my modified director's quarters.
I appear to be well built for travel. You should be commended for a job well done.
In a previous video, I taught you how to teleport your Automatron robots and basically other companions into the Institute. You can watch that video some point. I'll try to get that established, but we're gonna explore the Institute. This is actually just a glitch. I was able to get this in here. It was previously back at my old room, where I was just a scientist, and I can now get this door open. I did this through a mod, the same holotape mod, to able to switch the lock from inaccessible to advanced, so I could pick it and open the door. I'm able to get in here now. And it's sweet that I have a robot in here. We're gonna explore the rest of the building. So everybody's getting out of work. I got my own custom workbenches here. I did not have these before, but I do now. I have a little chemistry station back there, and so one of my mods has made that one of the mods I got from the mod store, where everything is free, is it allows the chemistry station to make spawn beacons where you can spawn things like robots, synths, you name it. I got a lot of stuff. There. Oh yeah, hold on. Crap. Those things right here, you see these? Those things move. The big pillars, the big thingies that are around the pillars, the pillar houses, they move. With the lights starting out on and off, they actually move around. The parts of it, they move. They move every time people get in and out of work.
I apologize for any disruptions that my work might cause you.
Yeah. But the pillar thingies move every time work shifts change. At day, the pillars are more like you can see a light at the bottom, but at night you will not be able to see them. They basically change to signal whether it's day or nighttime. And the setting of the Institute also changes, like the light. The light can change from day, dusk, dawn, and even night. But that's only for the mainstay of only for the hub of the Institute. None of the other buildings do that. And these are people's rooms right here. This is like for every room except the director building.
Condolences on the loss of your son, Director.
I get it. I lost my son, Sean. That's the Institute's head. So this is the cafeteria. That's the elevator thingy. This is the requisition supply below the director's quarters. This is the waiting room, I guess, for everyone to wait or just play around in. Here's the hospital, the whole hospital area, where you can just go around and chillax. Well, get your health checked and stuff. This would be a good place for people who want a coronavirus vaccine, which I'm waiting for one.
Reporting status. All functions normal.
Good to hear. This is the cafeteria. I think I've been there before. Well, I already did. So, the Institute has 5 divisions. One is facilities.
Systems will endure these rugged conditions.
One of them is facilities, which the Institute scientists in this division have yellow lab coats. There's the Institute, the facilities logo does not have a logo, unlike the other 4 divisions. The blue one is Advanced Systems. They have blue lab coats, just like this, and these are blue markings to identify it. There is, there's this green lining. This will take you to Bioscience. The Bioscience works on so Advanced Systems works on things other than robotics, like technology and other technological wonders and like weapons and stuff, and they have blue lab coats, unlike Bioscience, which works on botany and other, like, organic science, like, botany, physics, and you name it. They also run the, medical area. Now, we have robotics, my most favorite one. Robotics works on basically robotics. They work on the synths, they work on other projects, and they work on your custom projects, such as my custom Automatron project, which is what this guy is, the Automatron project. You know those robots that you can make? You can actually make your own custom robots. So now we're gonna go to get to more. We're gonna get to the most infamous of the divisions, which is the Synth Retention Bureau. The Synth Retention. Oh, the robotics guys have red lab coats. If you didn't recognize, the Synth Retention Bureau does a bunch of things. One, it recovers synths through coursers, and number 2, it surveys the Commonwealth, and number 3, it helps suppress it stops people from attempting to try to attack the Institute, because it's there as a safety precaution. So without further ado, we're gonna go explore the interiors of these divisions. My robot will follow us in. We're gonna explore the entirety of these division areas. So we got the Synth Retention Bureau area. We're gonna go in, we're gonna explore it. This is where they keep synths and other prisoners. The Institute has these things set for rogue synths and other prisoners. Oh, just nothing. And as I see here, the Institute has black lab coats in this area. And that is a Courser X688.
You need, sir. Just name
Oh, I will.
it. You're better off once the surface plan found out.
Oh, ignore X680 on that one. This is where they help to interrogate someone or to try and repair a broken synth that escaped the Institute.
You're worried I won't be able to keep up.
And these are like areas where you can access these computers here. These computers called terminals. And they also have a balcony where you can watch it from. This is the armory, and this is the map area. Facilities is built into the Institute itself.
To report, sir.
And Institute facilities are basically, they're just facilities. They don't really have anything of value. They don't even do anything. I can show you one particular area of facilities, which is right here. This is where I confronted a rogue synth. This is a little room facilities. I can show you some other small rooms for facilities where they have the whole thing. The facility does not have their official office. That's probably why they don't have a logo. But this is another facilities room. They work on certain projects with these. These are Institute. This is another area where they have more equipment. Right here, more and more. While scientists themselves can do the projects, they tend to have like spare Generation 3 synths do the jobs, ones that are not being used for infiltration purposes. And because the Institute, like me, sees Generation 3 synths as products and not living beings, they just treat them like products, and somehow the synths glitch, and they end up thinking that slavery is bad for them, and they want to be free. And now that we got that done, we're gonna go into robotics. We're gonna go to the Robotics Room to see what they look like. This is where they make all the synth models. Generation 1 to 3. Right here. That's a Generation 1 synth. That's Gen 2 back over there. And no, these two guys who work on the projects are not synths. And there's a little custom area that I have. Oh. This is a little project I set up. It's called Project Automatron. I have these little model robots here, and we're trying to discover ways to customize them. The ways of the Directorate, my friends. The ways of the Directorate. Project Automatron is working, I guess, beautifully. And that right there is Generation 3 synth.
Hello. Welcome. Please, step this way for processing.
So this is all the room really is. So that's basically how they build the synth right there. I'm not going to go into full detail of that. I'm just going to get the heck out of the room right now. What we're looking at here is the, now we're gonna go into the Bioscience Room. No, wait, no. It's not the Bioscience. Here's the Bioscience. So, we got this little area, and there's a Gen 2 synth working there. some young scientists. A synth. This is the area right here. We can explore this area. They work on ecology, and I have my own projects here. I got a Garricle hand here, and I got a hallucinogen gas canister right here. I spawned all this stuff. We got the gator claw hide right there. It's going to be researched by Institute Bioscience. Also the synthetic gorillas that the Institute have made. There's the male scientist. We're about to explore the FEV lab. As mundane as it is. First we're going to explore this little area. So this was won by previous divisions. So we're about to explore the Institute Bioscience as of in a bit of seconds. Alright. Do not panic when you see super mutants. They are all dead. Here we go. We're going to explore this area. You can turn these on and off. There's a destroyed synth. And, got something here. There's a deactivated Soltron. That's weird. You got dead house cats all over the place. There's a little containment area. This containment area probably carries the belongings of people who have basically gotten killed by Institute. We also have in here the cells that hold people who became super mutants. I think another way they were trying to, I'm pretty sure another way the Institute was trying to work on FEV was to try and make a cure for it, because you do make a cure for it in the game, and you deliver it to Dr. Brian Virgil, who is a super mutant, who becomes a human again. So, basically, you can cure him of his super mutant conditions. When we look back in here, here's the actual FEV lab itself. This is the tank that, obviously, Dr. Brian Virgil dumped himself in. He broke out of it and attacked everybody. But still, yeah, the Institute abducted people from the Commonwealth, converted them to super mutants, and set them loose. But these two super mutants are both dead. One's a male and one's a female. And we look back in here, we go back to the regular area. Oh, that music, the music deep in the background is my mother watching Star Trek Voyager. I can't, since this is my mother and grandmother that I'm dealing with, I can't really tell them to do anything. I hope I don't get arrested for this, because I don't really want to get DMCA'd up the neck. But it is what it is. So now we're going to go
We
in...
are honored to welcome you here.
Of course you are. So now we're going to go into advanced systems and see what they have to do. We've seen the other labs, now we're going to see the advanced systems lab. This lab is pretty awesome. So I have the Synth Sean back in the back room. Not this back room, not this room, not this room, this room. He's sleeping right now. Rest in peace, little fella. I'm so proud of him.
I'm glad you talked me into coming here.
That's T.S. Wallace right there.
Remember, health and happiness go hand in hand.
We're gonna go in here. There are two different kinds of this one right here. When they're here, these two types of lights are very different from each other. But they have a similar appearance. We come in here, and here we have the Institute Reactor. Back there is the Institute Reactor. Here's a little locker room. Probably for the scientists to change into a hazmat suit to enter this room. This door can be opened, and if you have a rad resistance ability, you can get in here without getting rads. You can also shut down the reactor if possible, if you psych the Institute. And, we're gonna go explore more areas of the Institute. We're gonna exit this room. There's also a little shooting range in here. We're gonna explore two more rooms before we go on. Before we start talking about the Automatron theory. Yep, I exposed it. There it is. Alright, so let's go find that last... the one of the last rooms before we start talking about, before we start talking about the Automatron theory. This is my personal, I guess, workshop room. In the normal game, this isn't a room for you at all, but I modded it, so, it is, it's basically a little settlement area, except you can't send settlers to it, but it does work as a micro settlement. I was even able to get a robot workbench in here. I have, I had to play some tricks in order to get this established, but I did manage to get it to work right here, but, I did manage to get things to work. I haven't built a custom-made SATCOM robot and had it play in the Institute. But I didn't stay in there, unfortunately, because I jumped out of the Institute and I couldn't get it back in. So I reloaded the game in a previous save. Now that that room's been taken care of, we're gonna go to another area. The directorial area. The elevator. I'm gonna close this door. There's a small area here that leads to the Institute main area. Again, this door opens. Of course my robot's gonna open it regardless, because it doesn't know what he's doing. Well, it doesn't know what it's doing. It has a male voice, and its personality subroutine is online. Go back down here. This is a little gateway area. This will lead us all the way up to the teleportation area. You can see all the divisions, areas, and why just their scientific glow before we exit all the way back up to here, the relay room. So this is the relay room. This place gives you a villain-like style look. Alright, so that's our tour of the Institute. Now we have one third thing to discuss. As evidenced by my robot, what would it look like if the Institute, under my leadership, were to make the decision to not just use synths, but also use Automatron robots as well? Well, the Institute would have to recruit Isabel Cruz. Isabel Cruz is the proclaimed mechanist in Fallout 4's Automatron DLC. She tried to release robots in the Commonwealth to try and help people, but instead their RoboBrain superiors that she created ended up thinking that the best way to help someone is just to kill them because of their lifespan, and attempted just killing them off instead. And the Institute has really nothing to do with this. The robots do attack the synths, though. But, as I've talked with you earlier, the Institute has really something to begin with. But, if the Institute were to start its own Automatron robot program, like it does in my game, these robots would be very similar to Automatrons, except they'd have Institute weapons, they'd be far smarter, and they'd be a lot more effective with certain things such as defeating enemies and assisting in the reclamation of broken and damaged self-aware synths. And the Institute really just sees something that the Institute is really the best hope. Automatron. The Automatron program would be another key successor with the Institute. Imagine, both Synths and Automatrons working together. What would that look like? Let me know in the comments down below.
Continuing to accumulate vast amounts of data regarding the Commonwealth.
I'm sure they are. I don't know if I should explore this room, but, I think that would be for another time. Yeah? In the meantime, my robot and I are gonna go back downstairs. That area is really nothing. We go back downstairs. We find the halls in all their glory. Our robot will join us eventually. But, the Institute Automatrons would be just as deadly as the Mecha Automatrons, really. But, if robotics were to work on Automatrons, robotics would be the best division of the, departments. So, we're gonna go and take a look at one final room, before we, wrap things up. There's not just the director's quarters, there's a boardroom, too, that you can go to. Here we have the boardroom. The boardroom is the room where you can find it's a boardroom where you can go with father, who is your son, and talk with him. With the directorate, which are the division heads of all the other divisions. The only division that seems to not show up is robotics, which is run by Alan Benet. But this is where they talk about a father dying of cancer and appointing you as director of the Institute. Without even asking. So that's going to be it for this video. If you really like this video, please be sure to leave a like, and as always, take care. I will see you all next time. Clean Roof 4500 out. Peace!